Okay. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Not the biggest audience, but that's what I expected. Text is not that sexy. I know that. I'm not here to pitch. I'm also not here to build. This is spoiler. These are my slides. They're not fancy, but I think this is not my job to give you some fancy slides. I know that people who are here are probably not here because they are so interested and really have the devotion for the tax topic, but they probably have tax issues, and the year end is coming. This is why they are here. If there is someone who didn't catch the introduction, my name is Florian Zawodsky. I'm a tax advisor at EY here in Germany, in Berlin. I work at the knowledge department and also mainly focus on tax, on Web3 issues, and we formed a tax task force on Web3 to be really able to give good tax advice. I was accepted to speak here on the tax consequences triggered through the Web3 activity, which is a broad topic, and I could talk about that for days. And I'm pretty sure that you are here for several reasons. So one might be here as an investor, someone might be here as a businessman, someone might be here as a platform, someone will be doing DeFi or whatnot. And this is why I try to catch all of you kind of a bit, and I obviously can't really give you direct tax advice, so do this, don't do this, because you also live in several jurisdictions probably, so I'm obviously here on the bar in Germany, so I can tell you stuff for Germany, but if you live in Switzerland, that might not apply. At least in the EU, some reasons, some regulations are harmonized, but still tax law is national law. So at the end of the day, I can only really point you to interesting points which you might consider and might reflect, oh, I did that. So I might should think about and maybe state that in my tax returns. So what did I bring here with me? I did that presentation yesterday, and these are supposed to be traffic lights, but at EY we don't have traffic lights with the actual colors, so this is from green to yellow going down to red. So just to don't get it wrong. And this basically bandwidth I started here is when I was thinking, okay, what could you guys do? What could be in your interest if you want to hear something about taxes? Tax. So you start probably at the top with the easy exercises, which is just buy some NFTs or buy some crypto and sell it, and then the points to consider there. Then a tougher exercise, if you really do that on not just occasionally, do it maybe as a business, or if you're an incorporated firm and you really have to do documentations and accounting stuff. And at the moment, the tip of the iceberg, as the red lights in the traffic lights, if you really engage into DeFi stuff, DAOs, or really if you want to be a marketplace, or if you want to sell your stuff on marketplaces. But let's start at the top and really just to focus a little bit on the issues which really should grind your gears a bit if you did something. Just say as an easy example, and as I already started to speaking about the clone. Think about the clone. If you just bought into the Artifact project, which is a normal NFT, what could have happened there? What happened also to me? You had to start by buying ETH. You had to use that ETH to buy a mint vial, or you bought it on the secondary market. You received your clone. You can brag on Twitter or on LinkedIn if you're not banned. If you use that profile picture, apparently everybody gets banned when they use a clone, except for me. I don't know why, but I find it quite cool. So what happened down the year, you received some airdrops, you received the pods, you received some crypto kicks, you could mint the luggage remover stuff and whatnot. And now a year has passed. You might, I haven't sold my clone, but you now could sell it. So obviously that could trigger several income tax points, which you might have to fill into your tax declaration. So this is definitely something you have to think about, and I'm pretty sure that applies to most countries. We all have probably heard, yeah, you can move to Portugal or to Dubai. They don't have income taxes, or they don't have income taxes on crypto and stuff like that. If you want to know my take on that, just go down to the other points there. Other countries have wealth taxes, which we don't have in Germany, or they have stamp duties or capital gains taxes, which we also don't have here. So I have my takeaways at the next slide, but one of my takeaways will be that tax money is not just collected, that the politicians can have a good life. This tax money is collected for our community, so we need that money. So also other jurisdictions have to collect tax money, and if there's a lot of money in the game, they will also eventually start taxing somehow the process. So in my view, and really like Berlin and like Germany, so I'm not really thinking about moving, but I would think twice if I had the idea to move somewhere else just for tax purposes. So yeah, in that example I just made with the clone, income tax things, definitely something you have to think about. Another little speciality in there is airdrops, because this is a thing which is I wouldn't say unique, but I can't tell about other tax laws. But in Germany, if you to be in the tax world, you have to have acquired something and then have it sold. Yeah. Well, if you think about an airdrop, that wasn't acquired. That was more or less gifted from one perspective. But from the other perspective, you could also say, well, it wasn't just gifted randomly. It was on purpose somehow gifted to me. And Artifact or Nike's doing that because they want the turnover there, and then they get their provision or royalty, or however you want to call it. So that is it a gift? Is it not a gift? Does it have to be in my gift tax declaration? A thing you should worry about, or maybe not too much, like the amount when you should worry about that is around 20,000 euros. So if you just received airdrops under 20,000 euros, you don't have to worry about it. If you received more airdrops, you could worry about it, depending on how compliant you want to be. I can't tell you for sure. I just want to emphasize what you could think about. And the last point here on the first big point is the documentation, for private persons, and I guess that also holds in other jurisdictions. Documentation, as a tax advisor, I always tell you, do your proper documentation, but it's not legally binding. But if you want to do, better do it. And this is mainly there to have it in comparison to the other parts I have there, where where documentation is mandatory, where you have to, you might also get audited and stuff like that, and where basically the fun ends. Because from my personal experience, if you communicate with the tax authorities on a personal level, you give them an Excel sheet, tell them what you did, bought some ETH, sold the ETH, bought the coin, and then waited. They're fine with it, probably have no clue what happened there, but that is fine. But the fun ends if you're really doing that as a business. Then probably you have to be a lot more stricter. That gets checked, that might get audited and stuff like that. So if you do that as a tougher exercise, as really doing that as a business, selling cryptos or NFTs, you have all the points from above, and especially the point I didn't touch on so far, value-added taxes. That kicks in a little bit more, because for normal persons, usually we have lump sums. So if you're a normal person, just selling something doesn't really matter for VAT purposes, not really an interesting question. But if you're doing that as a business, this question might become way more interesting, and you should worry about. And also from what we see, we don't have that many startups as clients, but what we see for the startups, that usually income taxes are at the beginning of their business journey not that interesting from a revenue point or from a payment point for them, because they're not having any big gains anyway, because they're a startup. They're having losses, so they're not paying anything anyway. But these value-added taxes, they are bound to the transaction, to each transaction. So the payment of these taxes starts right at the beginning when they do their journey. So this is more interesting at the beginning. current tip of the iceberg, which could drive your tax advisor or your financial authority mad, and where it is, I would love to give you easy answers, but there are no easy answers on DeFi. You could use programs, and I've been to other conferences where they promise you just give us the API or link that or whatever, and then you get the perfectly tax return you can just file. From my experience, and this is no bragging, I think I already brought some points which are also not that good about EY, so it's no bragging, but we are the biggest tax company in Germany, and my experience is limited with different programs, like, how are they called, Bitpanda, I think, and accounting and coin tracking and whatever. My experience is limited, but find me a guy who has more experience. And I can tell you they all have their problems and mistakes in it. Can't do it better, but still the authorities don't ask, well, this is the best, you use the best program which is there. That's not their perspective. They just want to have it right. You can't ask them what is right, but they want the right answer. Other things which as a tax advisor really can't advise you to do is any DAO involvement, which is what we mostly see in the market at the moment, is that people just get incorporated with normal old GmbHs or also AGs or other just legal forms, and then call themselves a DAO and have a Discord server, and you can somehow vote for something, but it has nothing to do with the original idea of a real DAO. And this is certainly not practical in Germany. I would say it's somewhere between impractical and impossible. So I can't advise you to do so. And but if you did so, you certainly triggered some tax consequences. So better speak to someone. Last point here is marketplaces. When I was in New York at the NFT NYC, I apparently found that everybody wanted to be the next marketplace. So it seemed to me like everybody wanted to be the next Amazon, which I can understand because I also want to be Amazon and earn that money. But we know that there is Amazon and there are like some other big players, but especially in the Web3 world, we won't have like several or numerous Amazons. But this business model, which is tempting, the platform business model, I see that. I find it intellectually interesting and also probably working out good for the ones doing it, is also from a legal perspective really challenging. Just my last slide with the key takeaways and what will the future bring. Yeah, obviously I can't really look into the future, but I think from a legal perspective, it will get better. That will be the big message. Because especially the authorities will benefit from the mistakes we do. I think we all did mistakes, had money on FTX, or bought some NFTs which got rocked or whatever. Lost keys, lost seed phrases, whatever. I think they have an easier, better starting point, so they can benefit from the mistakes we make here. What is really really hot, because it will come out tomorrow, are reporting requirements for crypto exchanges. So FTX, they basically in the future they have to report. They have to do a know your customer check. They have to check you, and then they basically have to report to your local financial authority, to your Finanzamt, telling you, well, he did something on crypto, and then they probably ask you, hey, we got a report here. Don't you want to tell us what happened there? So there will be way more transparency. It will kick in from 2025 on, so there's still some time, but there is something planned. Still more regulation. We touched on that a little bit. The MiCA will come, and Europe basically has on its flags that it wants to see regulation as a good thing, and that regulation should somehow be used as marketing, that there's a more legal certainty if you go to Europe, and people should be able to use that and see that as a beneficial point. This is at least how the EU sees it. I tend to agree with that view, but it comes at a cost, as we had before. Another point for the authorities, the time is on their side. As we know, the traces on the blockchain, so probably not the best idea to sell. Well, yeah, the tax thing gets time barred after 3 years or so. So don't worry, or like if I really don't pay my taxes after 7 years or whatnot, probably not the best idea, because also laws can change, and these were just some dates which were partly correct for Germany, but can be different in different jurisdictions. So the future will bring more legal certainty, better regulation, hopefully also better software, because again, not blaming them, but this is probably the only thing how it could work in the future, that really what I do, that I can connect my wallet to some tax program, and then it basically gives my return. And also the financial authorities have checked this program and also gave their check mark that this program is providing good information. Also, there will be more tax advisors which are able to help, and I think we're also quite sub-community in the Web3 community, the tax advisors, and there are a lot of good ones which can help you, so that you don't have to approach me, but I can certainly give you someone who is able to help you. And I think this will also will the future bring, that there will be more knowledge to be able to be given to you. So what I want you to take away a little bit from my talk is that the sooner or later the tax Wild West will end. I think we also had it in the panel before. It is somehow for businesses, it's business decisions how you deal with taxes. Natural persons, individuals have to also do their taxes, but I want to give you is that tax revenue is also community building, and it is not just a bad thing to pay taxes. Obviously, no one likes to pay anything if you want to see it from this perspective. I also don't like paying my taxes, but it's not just burning money. It's money which is used for the community, for schools, for kindergarten, for stuff which is hopefully good stuff. And therefore, this is the picture I want to raise for you, that just paying taxes is not just bad. And also being unconscious, being like acting like, oh, I didn't know if I had to pay taxes, it was just a picture of an ape, I didn't know, is probably also not a cool move, because paying taxes is in my world a cool move. Yes, that's a good end point. And I think I'm probably above my time. Thank you for the time, and enjoy the rest of the day.